Hello viewers, this is Jairam from Chess Shoots Academy. Today we are going to start the first educational video on chess. We strongly believe in the saying that openings teach you openings, middle games teach you middle games, but it's end games that teaches you real chess. So today the first topic what we are going to do is going to be an end game, and the end game topic we have chosen to study today is queen versus pawn endings. Queen versus pawn endings is actually a highly underestimated end game where even grandmasters have gone wrong. So today I'm going to give you some tips and shortcuts on how to play these end games even under time pressure. So let's get started. Hi all. Before we start solving queen versus pawn endings, we need to keep certain rules in mind. The first rule is in queen versus pawn ending, the person having the queen is called as the attacker and the person having the pawn is called the defender. So in this case, white is the attacker and black is the defender. Okay, and the second point to remember is in this endgame, the rook pawn and the bishop pawn for the defender are actually relatively stronger than the knight pawn or the central pawns, because the rook pawn and the bishop pawn have tendencies to play for stalemate. Okay, rule number three is um, the queen almost always wins against a central pawn or a knight pawn. So in this case, if you see the defender has got a central pawn, so if it is white to play first, white should be in a position to play for the win. When there is a central pawn or a knight pawn, the winning technique involves giving continuous checks to the defender's king. When the king and pawn gets disconnected, attack the pawn. Okay, now move your king towards the defender's pawn only when the defender's pawn is blocked by his own king. So in this case, white is just going to give a check first, and when the king gets disconnected from the pawn, again we try to attack the pawn with check. And when the king tries to come close to the pawn, we give continuous checks until the king comes in front of his own pawn. At this point, when the king comes in front of his own pawn, the pawn is not able to queen, so we take this opportunity to move the king towards the pawn. And when he tries to again move out of the way of his pawn, we continuously have to give checks. When he gets disconnected, attack the pawn. When he comes close to the pawn, continuously give checks. When he comes in the way of his pawn, bring your king forward. Now you can repeat the same sequence of checks and constant attacks against the king. So let's say he plays something like king d2. You can already play queen f2. And let's say he plays king d1. You can give check. When he gets disconnected from the pawn, you again attack the pawn. And let's say he protects his pawn. You can give a check. Now he has to go in front of his pawn and block his pawn from queening. And now the king approaches front. Again, this process continues. So let's say he plays king f2. You can play queen f3 check. He's forced to play king moves to e1. And after king d3, I think it's just going to be mate in 2. Let's say he plays king d1. Now queen into e2 check. King c1 is going to lead into a checkmate, queen c2. Okay, in the previous example, we saw how the queen can actually win over a central pawn. In this example, we are going to see that white is actually going to queen his pawn. But even after queening, it's not so easy to win over the central pawn. And in this case, it leads into a draw. So let us see the sequence of moves that can follow. So here white plays f7 trying to go for the queen. And black continues with this chance of counterplay. He's also going to make a queen. And now let's say he queens. Black is going to play d2. And if you see in this position, if white had a chance to give a check somehow to the black king, only then he would be able to play for the win. But unfortunately, in this situation, there are no checks available, and the next move black is going to queen and he's going to secure his draw. Okay, this is the third example. Here, the endgame involves a rook pawn. As we have discussed earlier, that rook pawn and the bishop pawns are actually strong for the defender, because these are the only two cases where stalemate defense is possible. Okay, and I would like to give you a shortcut method to remember how to play such endgames, and you can use this method even in time pressures. If you see in a lot of the endgame books, what is actually mentioned is some kind of a rectangular pattern and geometry which is very difficult to remember. So it is better to remember the winning zone by means of numbers. So whenever there is a rook pawn, the easiest way to know whether the defender is going to lose or not is by actually drawing a zone. If white, who's the attacker, has to win against a rook pawn, then the attacker's king should actually be close to the defender's pawn. But how close should he be? The proximity of the winning zone is actually based on the number called as 5544. So how do you construct the winning zone using this number 5544? Okay, now for the rook pawn, I'm going to construct the winning zone. The winning zone for the rook pawn is actually shown in green. Okay. Now, if the white king were to stay on this zone, or if it stays inside the zone, or it can even stay on the zone, okay, then if it was white to play, then white could have played this position for a win very easily. Now, if you notice that the white king is actually outside the green zone, okay, so therefore here it's impossible for white to play for the win. But what you have to understand is, how did I construct the green zone? I use these numbers called as 5544 or 5544. So now from the closest corner of the pawn, count 5 squares horizontally. So we count from A1 to E1. This becomes 5 squares horizontally. Next, count 5 squares vertically from the same corner. So the squares are from A1 to A5. And now I've told you earlier that the number is 5544. So we have already drawn the number 5 on the board, and we have drawn another number 5 on the board. So what remains is number 4 and then another number 4. So we draw 4 squares from even squares vertically. The direction changes once it goes horizontal, and next time it goes vertical. And then again the remaining number 4 has to be completed from A5 square going horizontally again this time. Okay. So now if you connect all these zones together, you get the complete green enclosed boundary, and this is the winning zone. If the attacker's king stays within this zone, the win is going to happen. So now in this case, the attacker's king is outside this zone, so therefore this position can only be a draw. So let us see why this is a draw. So let's say there are some sequence of checks given in this position. Let's say check, and king goes to b2, and then again queen comes to b7, check, and here black can just play king moves to a1 and get into a stalemate position. So even though the black king is actually in front of his own pawn, in this case the king doesn't have time to come inside, because this would just lead to a stalemate. And instead of the king coming to f7, the only other chance is to continuously give checks, and that would again result in a draw. Now in the next example, I have actually moved the attacker's king even more closer to the pawn. But is this close enough to play for the win? Again, this can be determined in a second by actually drawing the zone. Again, what is the zone? The zone is represented by the numbers 5544. So again, from the corner square, we draw 5 squares horizontally, 5 squares vertically, and then we complete the remaining two numbers, that is 4 and 4, 4 and 4. And if you complete the zone, you will see that the attacker's king is just outside the zone. So again, in this case, it's not possible to win. Okay, in the next example, you can see that the king is actually one step closer to the pawn, and it's again attacker has to play first. So first again, let's draw the zone for the rook pawn. The zone for the rook pawn is determined by the number 5544. We are again going to draw the numbers 5, 5, 4, 4. So now in this case, if you see that the king is exactly on the zone, and this is an important condition to meet before you start playing for the win. So once your king is in the zone, next what to do? The technique after this is to actually transfer the attacker's queen to the second rank by series of checks, and only then start moving the king to attack the pawn. So in this case, we're going to first play queen moves to h1 check. So the defender is going to play king b2, and now we play queen moves to g2 check. So once we play queen moves to g2 check, black can play king moves to b1, and if you see that the queen has been transferred effectively to the second rank. So this is one of the conditions you have to keep in mind. You have to meet this condition. Okay, and now in this position we're not going to give any further checks. We are going to bring our king in front, so we're going to play king c4. Now black has no other better option than to queen the pawn. So if he takes a queen, and now white king comes to b3, and either black is going to get checkmated or he's going to lose the queen. In the next example, we can see that it's no more a rook pawn, it's actually a bishop pawn. And bishop pawn is also a good pawn to try to fight for a draw for the defender. So in this case, the attacker has to be really careful. So now the winning zone for the attacker's king in this case is slightly different from that of the rook pawn. So in this case, we try to introduce two more numbers in this position. When the king is close to the corner, that is a1, so we say that the king is on the right side of the bishop pawn. When the king is, let's say, on d1, then we say that the king is on the wrong side of the bishop pawn. Okay, why do we say that the king on b1 is on the right side of the bishop pawn and king on d1 is on the wrong side of the bishop pawn? Is because when the king is on b1, it will help him to play for the stalemate defense. So example, let's say in this position, if white were to just continuously give checks with queen moves to b8 check, king moves to a1, and then he can slowly improve the position of his queen with queen a7 check, king b1, and sequential checks like this: queen b6 and king moves to a1, queen a5, king b1, queen moves to b4, king moves to a1, and let's say queen moves to a3 check, king b1, queen b3 check, king a1. So here white cannot capture the pawn because it leads into a stalemate situation. Instead of doing all this sequence of moves, and instead of doing all this circus to find out that the position was a draw, it could have been found out in a second just by looking at the position and drawing the winning zone in our mind. So let us see what's the winning zone for the bishop pawn when the king stays on the right side of the bishop pawn. Okay, when the king is close to the corner square, we say the king is on the right side. When king is away from the corner square on d1, then we say the king is on the wrong side. So when the king is on the right side of the bishop pawn, the winning zone is given by the number 5433. So again, from the corner square, we draw 5 squares horizontally. Always we start drawing horizontally, then 4 squares vertically, and then the remaining 3 squares from a4 and 3 squares from e3 from e1, and this completes the zone. If you see in this position, the king was actually outside the zone, and therefore this position was only a draw. Now we have a new position with the king on c4 in this case instead of d4. And if you study the position closely, you can see that it's a bishop pawn with the defender's king on the right side of the bishop pawn. So the number for right side of the bishop pawn is 5433. We draw the zone again by starting from the corner square horizontally, 5 squares, 4, 3, and 3. So now when you complete the zone, you can see that the attacker's king stays exactly on the zone. So this clearly shows that in this position, the attacker can play for the win. So how is he going to play for the win? So he's going to first improve his queen to a good place so that he can come to second rank with some kind of a sequence of checks or tempo or gaining tempos. So in this case, he's going to pin queen h7, and let's say here black can play something like king b2, and then you can just play queen moves to h2, pinning the pawn. Now if he goes something like king b1, you can just play king moves to b3. If he plays c1 equals queens, you can checkmate him on a2. Moving on to the next position. In this case, we have the defender's king on the wrong side of the bishop pawn because he is far away from the corner. So we say the position is on the wrong side of the bishop pawn. When the king is on the wrong side of the bishop pawn, the number I would like you to remember is 7544. So let us construct the zone using the numbers 7544. So again, from the corner square, the closest corner of the pawn, from there we draw 7 squares horizontally, 7, 5, 4, and 4. We complete the zone like this. If you notice that the attacker's king is exactly outside the zone, is one square outside the zone. So therefore, theoretically in this position, there is no chance for the attacker to play for the win. But it's defender to play first. Defender has to play accurately. And here, there are only two candidates which the defender can think of. One candidate is king c3, giving body check. It's preventing the king to enter into the zone. And then the next candidate move we can think of is king moves to d1. Okay, so these are the only two candidates which we can actually think of. So now let us see why king d1 is wrong. King d1 is wrong because the king can just approach king d4, and if you queen, you can just play king moves to d3, and then black is in zugzwang. So here, the only way to play for the draw is actually to play king c3, and it's impossible to make any progress in this position. If he gives a check, let's say queen moves to a3 check, you can just play king moves to d2, and let's say he plays queen moves to b2. Now you can't. He stopped you from going to to king c3. So the only other important option available for you, which can help you to play for the draw, is king d1. He does not have time to approach with his king to d4 because you're queening at the same time you're attacking the opponent's queen. Okay, so this should fetch you a draw. Okay, in the next example, it's actually white to play. White is the attacker over here. And if you study the position carefully, you will see that the defender's king is on the wrong side of the bishop pawn. So if he's on the wrong side of the bishop pawn, the number to be followed is 7544. So from the closest corner, we draw 7 squares, 5 squares, 4 squares, 4 squares. Now you can see that actually the attacker's king is in the winning zone. So you should win at any cost in this position. But here you have to play very carefully. You can't give unnecessary checks in this position because that will enable the defender's king to go from the wrong side of the bishop pawn to the right side of the bishop pawn. And let's see what happens if some unnecessary checks are given, and if the defender is able to go to the right side of the bishop pawn, then suddenly you will notice that the white king is going to be outside the winning zone for that case. So something like queen moves to d4 check, and if I play king c1, here the right way to play is actually queen moves to a1 check to play for the win, to prevent the defender's king from going from the wrong side to the right side. This was the wrong side, and this was the right. Sorry, this is the right side. So here, instead of queen moves to a1 check, if he had played something like queen moves to e3 check or queen moves to f4 check, I would have just run away to the right side. And now once you go to the right side of the bishop pawn, the number to be followed is 5433. So this is the 5433 zone, and suddenly you will see that the king is 2 squares away from the zone, and this should definitely fetch a draw to the defender. So the right way in this is to actually prevent the opponent from going from the wrong side to the right side. So after queen d4 check, king c1, white has to play queen moves to a1 check, and then when he plays king moves to d2, you can just play queen moves to b2, and now he's going to play king moves to d1 because he wants to try to queen, and after king moves to f2, it's not possible to queen anymore because there's just going to be a checkmate. We have now come to the end of queen versus pawn endgames. So now in the next section, we are going to see what if the defender's king or the defender's pawn is not on the second rank, and instead if they are on the third rank, then we don't have to follow the winning zone parameters, and we shall see in the subsequent examples how to play those positions. Okay, finally we come to the last section of these endgames. In the last section of these endgames, we shall see situations where the attacker's king is not on the winning zone but can still win. So there are three key observations in the defender's camp that enables the attacker to win. So those three key observations are: if the defender's king blocks his own pawn, as in this case, then the attacker can try to play for the win. The second key observation is that the defender's king is not on the second rank or first rank. Instead, if he's on the third rank. So third rank is actually one of the worst places to be for the defender. And then the third key observation is if the defender's pawn is not on the second rank and he instead is on the third rank. That means it takes longer time for the defender to play for queening. In all these three cases, the winning by the attacker is based on the fact that he gets extra time to enter into the winning zone, or he can try to play for win using tactics like making use of some key pins or skewers or some kind of discover attacks, as we can see in the subsequent examples. Okay, if you notice this position over here, it's a rook pawn. The defender has a rook pawn. So the rule for the number for the rook pawn is 5544. If you draw the winning zone, that is 5544, you can see that the attacker's king is clearly out of the winning zone. But still, if white has to play first or the attacker is playing first, he will definitely try for the win, because there is one problem for black. The black king is actually blocking his own pawn, and this was a key observation. So now you have to somehow try to come to the winning zone as early as possible. And also right now the black king is in a stalemate situation, so king has to maneuver himself very carefully to come into the winning zone. So the way to win in this position, he plays king moves to b6, cutting off the chance of black playing for the stalemate. So now black has to come into the b file by force, and let's say he plays something like king moves to b1. So either king moves to a5 or king moves to c5 should be winning, because now suddenly this situation has been created into a rook pawn situation where it's black to move but black has to face the check. So let's say black plays something like king moves to c2, and now it is white to play. So this endgame has got transformed into the normal rook pawn endgame, where now the winning zone is 5544. So if you demarcate the zone 5544, you will suddenly see that the attacker's king is well within the winning zone, or on the winning zone we say in this case. And now the winning is easy. The next method for trying to play for the win is to transfer the queen to the second rank. So we transfer the queen to second rank with a check, and if he plays king moves to b1, you can now approach the pawn with king moves to b4, and if he queens, we can just play king moves to b3, and either he's going to be checkmated or he's going to lose his queen. Okay, in the next example, we see that this is a bishop pawn with king on wrong side. So if you draw the numbers, it is 7544. So we start drawing the number horizontally from the closest corner, that is h1 square. So this becomes 7, this becomes 5 and 4 and 4. So if you try to enclose the zone, you will see that the attacker's king is very far away from the zone. But since the defender's king is on the third rank, so this gives you some kind of a tactical possibility. So one of the easiest ways to play this position for a win is you can just play queen moves to b2. Now you are preventing the king to come close to his pawn to defend his pawn. At the same time, here queening is not possible, because you have now going to unleash a tactic, that's the skewer. So queen b5 check should win. So instead, for queen b2, instead of playing f1 queens, the only other option for him is to play king moves to e3. But now if you control the queening square by playing queen moves to b5, this should be a win. And something like king f3 is just met by queen moves to f1, and now slowly the king is going to march inside, and then you will be able to capture the pawn on f2. Okay, in the current example, now if you study the position carefully, you can notice that the black king can be considered as the king being on the wrong side of the bishop pawn, or even if it's on the right side of the bishop pawn. The maximum number which you can extract from this is 7544. So 7544. You can again see that the attacker's king is outside the zone. So here he has to use some kind of tactics or checks and put him into Zugzwang, put the defender into Zugzwang. So here white can just play queen moves to e4 check, and if black plays king moves to g3, which is forced, he can just occupy the queening square. I mean, he can prevent the opponent to queen by coming onto the first rank. Okay, and now this position is lost. In the last position, what we are going to see for today, if you notice that the king is on the right side of the bishop pawn. So if the pawn was on the second rank, ideally the winning zone should be described by the number 5433. So if you draw even 5433, you can see that the king is going to be too far away, so it's impossible to come into the winning zone at all. But since the defender's pawn is on the third rank, you may be able to enter this position by means of tactics. Of course, you can't play queen moves to c2 in this position, which is just going to lead to a stalemate. So that's why over here, the best way to enter the position is to just to play something like queen moves to h6. Okay. After you play queen moves to h6, of course, he cannot play c2. If he plays c2, he's just going to lose because of queen moves to c1 check. So instead of c2, the next important candidate move in this position can be king moves to b2. And for king moves to b2, it can be answered by queen moves to f6 a pin. Now it's not possible to push the pawn. The only options available in this position is king moves to c2 or king moves to b3. For each of these moves, whether he plays king moves to c2 or king moves to b3, white can just play queen moves to d4. And if you see that black is in a total zugzwang in this position, there is no way for him to proceed, and the king can slowly come and capture the pawn. Example, let's say he plays few moves like king moves to b3. I can approach with king moves to f6. It is impossible to play c2 in this position because of queen moves to a1, and instead of c2, the only other option is to play again king c2 back, and we can just approach with the king. Instead of king c2, if he plays something like king moves to b2, he's putting himself further into a pin, and the pawn cannot push, and again he has to use his king. So again we can approach the pawn with king moves to e5, and slowly this should be a win for white. For queen h6, instead of playing king moves to b2 and getting into this pin, he can try to avoid all that mess, and he can try to play king moves to b1. But even for king moves to b1, white has some good sequence of checks, and he can enter the position decisively. He can play first queen moves to b6 check, and let's say some king moves to c1 is played. You can play queen moves to e3 check, and let's say king moves to c2, and then you can just approach with king moves to f6, because there's no way for him to start using his king. Again, if he goes king moves to b2, we have this queen moves to d4, and the position represents the previous position already discussed. And again here white can play for the win because of the very strong pin. So finally, to conclude, it is very important to know these subtle tricks and these numbers, because sometimes you have to take decisions when you are playing in blitz or rapid, or you may even get this end game in a classical tournament where you're having time pressure. So then this 1 second rules, and by remembering these kind of numbers what I have discussed with you all, that is for the rook pawn we use the number 5544. For bishop pawn, when the king is on the right side, we use the number 5433. And for bishop pawn, when the king is on the wrong side, we use the number 7544 to construct the winning zone. Is very important, and this is a shortcut method. And normally you'd be able to establish the winning zone within 1 second. Okay, all the best, and please use these techniques in your tournaments, and you will see that it will give you very good results, and it will save a lot of time in your calculations. Thank you.